Welcome guys to my creative corner. This is Claudette and today I'll be showing you how I create these two beautiful masculine cards. So this is the inside of this one and this is this one right here, and those are some different beautiful layouts. So I'm going to show you the stamp set that I use and the dies to create that. These are Stampin' Up! Products. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So this is the handsomely suited stamp set with its coordinating dies. So with the dies, you have the dies for the ties. You have the stamps for those. You have two different sizes of bow ties, and you have the stamp for those. You could create overalls, suspenders with these pieces. This is a piece that you could create an inside pocket. This is another piece that you could create the outside pocket. You could also use this piece to enhance the top of the outside pocket. And the bow tie, this is a knot for the bow ties. You could also have additional knot for your tie. If you want that knot to be a different color, you could also create that for that and do some color blocking. You have the V for your shirts. You also have the collar for your jackets. And you have the collar for your shirts. They also include a die to create little buttons, and this gives you 6 individual buttons. And with the sentiments, it says, have a happy Father's Day, handsome. A happy birthday to you. Thank you to one of the world's greatest dads. You're the best. I think we can't have enough of masculine stamp sets and dies. So let's jump right in and see how I created those cards. Father's Day is around the corner, June 20th. So this would be awesome for that. Bring those cards in once again. So we're just going to need the base of our cards. I am using our thick, very vanilla. And that's a cream color. This is measuring 8.5 by 5.5. Then you're going to need some paper for the top. We have designer series paper. This looks just like material that you could actually touch and feel the texture of these. I'm going to list all the products that I use down in the description below. This is measuring 4.25 by 5.5. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and glue that on. You could fold this in the middle, your base cardstock ahead of time or afterwards. I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down. And I'm going to get my multi-purpose glue. I am going to bring in my silicone mat to protect my surface area. And then I'm just going to add some glue to the back of this designer series paper, we call it. And just a generous amount. I want to get along those edges good. If you're new to my channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell icon so you can be notified when I upload my latest videos. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and add this to the base of our card. I'm just going to make sure those edges are lined up nicely. You could turn it around, make sure none of the edges are peeking out. So next what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut all my pieces, die cut all my pieces. So now that we have that piece on the front here, what we're going to do is go ahead and take the V-shaped die, and we're going to place that to the center of our card. You could eyeball it, and you want this to come over the edge just a little bit because you want that to cut all the way through. And then you're going to measure, you could measure it if you would like. So this is 4 1/4, and so down the middle is going to be about 2 1/8. So you could put that about 2 1/8, and then you could put get a marker, a pencil. So it's nice to use a pencil where it would be erasable there, so you don't lose your place. And I am going to get some crafter's tape, this purple tape, and I am going to go ahead and tape it down in that spot so it doesn't shift when I'm sending it through my die cutting machine. You want these two sides to be even. So we're going to run that through our die cutting machine. Next, what I'm going to get some colorful cardstock for my tie, and I am going to you get two designs on the tie. You have the stripes, and then you have these diamonds. So I'm going to go ahead and do the stripes, and I'm going to do color and color. So this is our soft suede. We call this soft suede. I'm going to use the matching ink for my tie, and I already have that on the block. And since this is a larger stamp, I'm going to face it upwards and then ink it up facing that way, so I get less mess if I do it the other way. So once that's nice and inked up, I'm going to go ahead and stamp that on my cardstock. So next I am going to get my die for that. And once again, I'm going to bring in my craft tape. And sometimes what you could do with your craft tape is just kind of stick it on your skin so the oil could take off some of the stickiness so it doesn't rip your paper. And I am going to line that up there at the end and then to the top. And then we'll run that to our die cutting machine. And then once you do your V, you're going to get a leftover sheet like this. And what you want to do is take I'm going to use an outer pocket on this one. I am going to go ahead and use this extra piece to cut that out. Next, I'm going to get some leftover, the very vanilla leftover cardstock. And I'm going to go ahead and put my color down, the color for my shirt. So the inside of my shirt is going to be very vanilla, so I'm going to make the color very vanilla. And for my buttons, I am going to make those a little darker than the soft suede. I am going to go with more of a chocolate color for my buttons. And also for this is 3 3/8 by 6. So what we're going to do is get the collar for our jacket. I'm just going to put it right up to the tip there, and you're going to tape this down with your craft tape too as well. And we're going to go ahead and run those all through our die cutting machine. Okay, so now we're back. So we're going to gently remove our tape. Just making sure it doesn't rip our designer series paper. Okay, so you have this left over here, and you could cut your pocket with this. And what's nice with this is you have the designer series paper plus a cardstock, so it give it a little dimensional if you cut your pockets to that. It pops it off the jacket a little bit. All right, and this is the piece that fell out from this side. So I'm going to bring in my silicone mat. And what I'm going to do is take a sponge dauber and some of the ink in the soft suede ink. And I'm just going to add some color to the edges of this color so it could pop off of the jacket so you don't blend too much into the jacket. You see the difference? So next I'm going to take my multi-purpose glue and glue that down. So in the center of this is very fragile, so you just be extra careful with that. I am using the Art Glitter Glue, which is not by Stampin' Up. You could get this on Amazon. I'm going to list all the information in the description down below. So next what we're going to do is go ahead and glue this on. And I just want to line up the points right up here and then the edges. And I don't want it to be overlapping because when you open the back of the card, you want to make sure your edges are nice and even. So the point goes right down there, and then we'll just make sure these edges on this side, it's nice and even, and you want to turn it over and make sure it doesn't come across and it's just flushed. And I'm happy with that. Let's go ahead and score this down the middle. So we'll be scoring this at 4 1/4. And we'll fold that in half. Make sure your edges there are lining up nicely together. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and give that a good press. Next, what I'm going to do is just add my buttons right here. I am going to add 3 buttons. I'm going to add one here. And I'm just using a jewelry picker. I also have a take your pick tool from Stampin' Up, but I don't know where it is right now. I have putty on the end, and it helps you to pick up these little pieces easier. And I want to make sure my buttons are right-sided up. I'm going to put them where I would like them to be. Then I'm going to just put a little spot of glue right underneath. What I like about the art glitter glue is it dries clear and not tacky if it seeps out. Just going to take a piece of paper and dab that excess glue off. So next what I'm going to do is add an outside pocket. And I'm just going to add some color to the edges just like I did for the collar for the jacket. And I am bringing in that same colored soft suede, getting my dauber, sponge dauber, and I will just add some color there to the edge. And these are nice. The dies have some stitch designs on there. Just enough so we could see that that's the pocket and it doesn't get lost within the jacket. Now what we could do for the kerchief or the handkerchief that goes into the pocket, you see you could also cut out the extra collar, and the points right there could be your, we're going to use the points to be our kerchief. So I'm just going to pop those, break those off, and then what I'm going to do is just glue that one like that. We'll take another one and glue that like that, and that will be our kerchief. So we'll bring in our multi-purpose glue again. We're going to add some glue behind the pocket. Then we're going to position that point. Then we're going to add the other one like that, add some more glue to the back. And that's our kerchief. We'll add some more glue and glue our pocket down. So what we're going to do next is get the collar for the inside of our shirt. Sure that it's the correct side up. And I am just going to add glue to the top up there because I want enough space to the bottom that I could slip my tie right underneath. So I'm just adding glue to the edges. I'm going to make sure my jacket, it's lined up nicely there to the edge up to the top here. I'm just going to do one edge first, bring this down, do the other edge, and I want to leave an even amount of space on either side. So you want it flushed there to the top, and flush to the top. You want to make sure it's not over the edge. Alright, so next what I'm going to do is bring in my tie. And what I do is I leave that space open so I could just slip my tie underneath the collar like that. So what I've done is I stamped a couple ties in different colors to see which one I would prefer. So it's nice, you just putting glue to that edge and you just could slip your tie right underneath there. So I'm just going to stick with this dark color, which is the soft suede, and we're going to go ahead and glue that down. So what I'm going to do is just add some glue just to the knot, the top portion knot of this tie. And then we're just going to slip it underneath the opening here of the collar. So you just want to make sure it's nice and straight outside here with your jacket before you glue the tail down. So I am just going to go ahead and lift this up and add a little bit of glue to the back of it. Then what I'm going to do is take our stamp, and I'm going to take this smaller one that says to one of the world's greatest dads, and I'm going to stamp it right here because you don't want your stamp to show through. And we're going to bring in our soft suede ink. And we're going to ink that up, and you want to make sure your saying is right side up. So if you make a mistake on this, you could always cut a piece of cardstock and just glue it on. So I'm just going to put it down in this, on this side right here. If you guys are getting any creative value from this video, go ahead and smash that like button down below. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the other cards that I created. Like I said, I'm going to leave all the supplies that I use in the description down below. And this is one similar to that, but this one I use like an inside pocket. I stamped the tips of the ties. Another little thing is the ties. I just went ahead and stamped just the tip of that and cut those out. And it had to have the little design on that. And this is where I create the kerchief or handkerchief for in this section here. And then this one I use the outside pocket. And this design right here is a different designer series paper. I have a hint of blue in it. So I went ahead and created a blue shirt with a pink tie and the pink kerchief. And I put a pocket here in this shirt and stamped to the world's greatest dad. And now you could have this, and this could be for Christmas. You could add Merry Christmas to this, and so you could suit the occasions. Thank you guys for tuning in to my creative corner. This is Claudette, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.